Hi, Hotties. Welcome back to Hoops for Hotties, the one and only sports podcast for the girls, the gays, the theys, and the straight men who don't want to, but they don't know anything about sports. And when I say in the NBA world, the NBA said, fuck the Super Bowl. There is so much to talk about today. I don't even know where to begin, but we are going to start with the AD Luka trade situation because this by far, at least in my time as an NBA fan, is the craziest trade I have ever seen. I completed dry January for the most part. I went to Paris and I had like a glass of wine or two. But I completed misty January, and so my first night out back at the bar, I'm in the Uber with my friends and my mans, and I get a text from one of our friends that's already at the bar, and he's like, I know you see this trade. I'm like, what trade? First thing that comes to mind is Jimmy Butler got traded. Of course. Jimmy Butler has been trying to force his way out of Miami. Said no one ever, but I digress. I go and I look it up. And when I saw that Luka Doncic, Luka Magic, Luka Untouchable, Luka the international superstar, 7th highest selling jersey in the whole NBA, got traded from the Dallas Mavericks, I was in shock, in shambles. First thing that came to mind, how have the Lakers done it again? Obviously, one of the first places my mind went was, okay, LeBron's retiring. LeBron's contract is up in 2026. Obviously, this means that there's a sunset on LeBron's career. Obviously, his best days are behind him. Well, I don't know. Can you barely tell? Like, he just dropped 30 in Madison Square Garden. But obviously his best days are behind him. But I'm thinking, okay, this is like, it's getting real. LeBron's retiring. But this means that the Lakers are really making their LeBron escape plan, like their post-LeBron plan. And then I thought about Luka and, oh my God, did he know? Obviously, what we have heard is that he didn't know that he was getting traded from the Mavs and that they blindsided him. This all happened because Rob Pelinka, the GM of the Lakers, and Nico Harrison, the GM of the Mavs, had a little coffee date, and Nico Harrison came to Rob Pelinka and was like, I think I want to get rid of Luka. And he's taking a huge risk with that. I kind of hate him for it, I'm not going to lie, because it does feel like they're fat shaming him a little bit with the whole he's not conditioned enough situation. There is the idea that maybe there's something more we don't know. Luka was injured, and word on the street is he's going to be back like this week, but there's also the idea that he'll never be the same again because of that injury, and maybe that's why the Mavs traded him. Maybe there's something we didn't know behind the scenes, but honestly, sometimes things are just as crazy as they sound when it comes to the NBA. And it seems like they blindsided Luka and they just simply didn't believe in him. They didn't want to give him the $345 million extension. They didn't want to put the future of their franchise in his hands. They wanted more of a defensive presence. And so they went out and they got that. Crazy. And you know, both the Lakers and the Mavs GMs have since come out and said, we had to do this in secret. We couldn't let LeBron or his agent or anyone else in on what we were doing because it wouldn't have worked out this way. We wouldn't have Luka. Like, we had to make this secret, which is basically just NBA GMs taking their power back, essentially, because as you can see with the Jimmy Butler situation, which we'll get into a little bit later, but Jimmy Butler was forcing his way out of Miami, and he has forced his way out of several situations. Jimmy Butler has exercised a lot of NBA player empowerment, NBA player power when he forced his way out of, Minnesota. We saw him not want to play them there anymore, so not show up to training camp or anything, and then show up to practice and beat their starters with the third stringers, and then go do an interview with ESPN about how his team was soft and he didn't want to be there anymore. We've seen so many situations where players just wanted to win a championship, so they simply decided they wanted out, and they got in the situation that they wanted. And it seems like NBA GMs and owners are like, I think y'all forgot who the boss was. And they orchestrated this whole secret trade with some of the biggest stars in the NBA involved. I mean, if it's true that they didn't tell LeBron James about this before they did it, that's not only signifying the changing of the guards, like, look, LeBron, we got your son. Your son is literally on our roster. We got your bestie coaching, your podcast host coaching. Like, we've done enough for you. We're going to get Luka, whether you want this or not. And it just shows the business of the game. Luka was closing on a mansion in Dallas. He was planting roots there for the rest of his life. And he's been there since he was a teenager. He wanted to be a Dallas Maverick for the rest of his career. He had no idea that this was coming. So I think that this just shows no matter what big of a star you aren't untouchable. And it does bring up the question, who are the NBA untouchables, right? You would think that Devin Booker is untouchable in Phoenix, but is Devin Booker better than Luka? No. So is he untouchable? I mean, who's untouchable in the league? I think SGA is untouchable maybe in OKC, but Luka took them to the finals. So what makes an untouchable player? Wemby is probably untouchable in San Antonio. Other than Wemby and LeBron as of right now, and Bradley Beal, who has a no trade clause, I don't know if there are any untouchable stars in the NBA. I also want to pose my little theory. I've seen that you can't even make the Luka AD trade on 2K. Like 2K won't even allow you to do it. And so I'm wondering why the NBA allowed something like this to occur. Because it's good for ratings. Do you know how good this is for the league and me as a fan of the league? It is piquing the interest in the NBA again. Everybody has their eyes on what's going on in basketball on the week of the Super Bowl. This was the exact push the NBA needed, because think about the superstars we have in big markets right now. It's not really pushing the NBA over the edge. I know nobody wants to hear this, but it's the truth. Jalen Brunson, I love Jalen Brunson. I'm a huge fan, and I want him to do so well. Also a fan of Karl Anthony Towns. But New York Knicks, as far as ratings are concerned and random people tuning into basketball, they're not really moving the needle there. Jason Tatum, boring. I know, it's so mean, and nobody wants to talk about it. Everyone wants to talk about it offline, and I'm gonna get flack for it, I don't care. Jason Tatum is boring, and he's the face of one of the biggest franchises in the NBA. And then you've got LeBron, who is the man in LA, and who's gonna be his successor? Boom, international superstar Luka Doncic. I'm telling you, the league loves this shit. So why did the Mavs trade Luka? So apparently his relationship with the team was a lot worse than anyone realized. The return that they got for him, Anthony Davis, was honestly a lot less than expected, which we'll get into in a second, but I don't think that Dallas asked for nearly enough for a player of Luka's caliber, a player that they built their whole future around. That doesn't make any sense. But it makes a lot of sense for the Lakers, and we'll get into that in a second. There's a lot of speculation that Dallas was avoiding trying to give Luka a massive contract extension for $345 million, and so they traded him instead. And in that trade, Luka will be losing about $117 million and paying state tax in California, which is a huge difference from paying no state income tax in Texas. God help you, Luka. I know it's $117 million, $345 million we're talking about. I don't care. I don't care how rich you are. That is annoying. Why did the Lakers trade AD? Clearly, they wanted a younger superstar. Clearly, this move pairs Luka Doncic with LeBron James. That's box office. I mean, that sells tickets, and it sells tickets for the future. It keeps the lights on when LeBron finally decides to hang it up and retire. But now the Mavericks need a little bit more help because they do have more defense. It does help them defensively because Luka is a little bit of a cone. People be blown by him and he just be shrugging his shoulders and not caring. And that can't happen. So they did get better defensively. However, Kyrie Irving is the only elite ball handler that the Mavs have left. And that is a little bit of a pickle because Kyrie is also dealing with a back injury. And so they're putting a lot on Kyrie's shoulders. Kyrie also has come out and said that he's still grieving the loss of Luka. Because Kyrie and Luka were like, they went to the finals together. They could have won a championship together. Like, that's a big deal. Everyone is still shook over this whole thing. But it's not the only major move happening. Oh, did y'all hear that the Dallas Mavericks have lost over 700,000 Instagram followers since they traded Luka? I'm just saying, Luka is the kind of player that moves the needle. Now let's talk about Jimmy Butler. Let's talk about the Jimmy Butler saga, okay? Obviously, Jimmy Butler, if you don't already know, Jimmy Butler's drafted to Chicago. Things don't work out with Chicago. And so he leaves and he goes to Minnesota. He gets to Minnesota. He thinks them boys are soft as hell. He's not feeling the Minnesota team at all, especially their younger players, Andrew Wiggins, Karl Anthony Towns, Jordan Wood's boyfriend. Shout out to Jordy. We love her. But he's not feeling them. He thinks that they're soft, and Jimmy's, can do rough around the edges attitude doesn't exactly play over well with everybody, okay? And so he's not really getting along with the Minnesota Timberwolves. And then he decides to not show up to training camp, not show up to anything. He finally randomly goes to practice. Their coach at the time, I believe, was Tom Thibodeau. He was so excited Jimmy was in practice. He's like, guys, we're about to scrimmage. Jimmy ends up beating their soft starting lineup with the third stringers. He's talking shit to them the whole time. He literally cut the Minnesota out of his Timberwolves practice shirt. And then when the starters are like, yeah, Jimmy, we want a rematch, they go back to the locker room after practice Jimmy's obviously gone, and he's on TV doing an ESPN interview with Rachel Nichols, basically saying what he just did. Yeah, I just beat the starters with the third stringers, and I think them boys soft as hell. Like, I'm not feeling them, whatever. Needless to say, he forces his way out of Minnesota into Philadelphia, a more championship caliber situation. That ends up being a shit show because Tobias Harris over me, they basically decide to give Tobias Harris all of this money. Jimmy ends up leaving. I think it was like because they didn't want to pay him or something. It was a whole drama, but basically this one was Philly's fault. Jimmy ends up leaving, going to Miami. It seems like a match made in heaven. I thought Jimmy Butler was like the perfect face for the Heat culture. He was like hard. Pat Riley was like, I don't play no games. I don't care how big of a star you are. I don't play around. Jimmy Butler is playing there. It seems to be the perfect marriage, and that doesn't work out either. Obviously, look, Jimmy Butler has tried to get star after star after star to come to Miami. I mean, I remember Joel Embiid tweeting, Jimmy Butler needs another star, give Jimmy Butler another star, which too bad that didn't work out, right? Jimmy Butler and Joel Embiid in Philly. It seems like they be trying everything in today's NBA. Ain't no loyalty. Everybody be moving everywhere, trying to win a championship. And nothing seems to be working out. So Jimmy and Joel didn't work out. Joel's like, oh, Jimmy needs another star. And I think that the straw that broke the camel's back was Jimmy dead ass tampering all over Instagram for Damian Lillard. I mean, Jimmy really wanted Damian Lillard to come be a part of the Miami Heat. I believe Bradley Beal wanted to be a part of the Miami Heat. They didn't want him. It didn't work out, whatever. Miami loves a little undrafted, underground superstar that they found. And Jimmy was getting tired of that shit. He was like, hey, can y'all just go get somebody who's already good to help me be out? Because when he went to the finals with Miami in the bubble, he was playing like the whole game. He was dying. There's like a meme of him laying over the thing, looking tired as hell. And he was like, please go get me some freaking help. And Miami seemed to not be able to lock down any superstars. And Jimmy got tired of it. He was unhappy with his situation. And the second straw that broke the camel's back after not being able to acquire Damian Lillard was Pat Riley was not about to pay Jimmy the money that he wanted. Jimmy wanted to get paid a certain number. Pat Riley said no. And the thing about Pat Riley, he's the president of the Miami Heat. He's told LeBron James, Shaquille O'Neal, Dwayne Wade, who has a statue of himself outside of the Heat arena, he's told all them no. So if you really thought he was going bend for Jimmy Butler, that wasn't going to work. But Jimmy Butler basically soured his entire relationship with the Miami Heat in the process because Jimmy Butler was trying to force his way to Phoenix. He was blocking virtually any trade that wasn't to Phoenix. The problem is Phoenix has Bradley Beal on their team, okay? And Bradley Beal is expensive and he's not really turning out for them the way that they intended, but Bradley Beal is one of two players in the NBA, him and LeBron James, that have a no trade clause in their contract. Even if the Phoenix Suns wanted to get rid of him, they have to ask his permission first, which they did. The Phoenix Suns are like, hey, Bradley, things aren't really working out. Can you leave? And Bradley's like, my family's living here. My kids are in school. I'm not really feeling like moving. I just moved here from Washington. No. So now they're stuck with Bradley Beal and they're stuck with the situation they got, which we'll get to in a second. But that meant Jimmy couldn't come there. So now the Golden State Warriors come in, who are literally calling every team trying to land a superstar because they're trying to maximize Steph Curry. When you've got a player like Steph Curry, who is my absolute favorite basketball player, I love Steph Curry. Basketball is better when Steph Curry is good. When you got a player like Steph Curry and you're getting to the sunset of his career, they're trying everything they can do to maximize him to win another championship, including calling Kevin Durant. Y'all, the Warriors calling back Kevin Durant is like calling your scorned ex where you fucked up and trying to get back together. Hell to the no. Now, I do think if I were KD, I would have never left my situation in Golden State. After what KD did, if you don't know, Hotties, he was literally playing for the Oklahoma City Thunder. That was his home. That was like the team that loved him, where he won the MVP. And him and Russell Westbrook were inches away from winning an NBA championship when they lost to the Golden State Warriors, who were the big dogs at the time. And instead of saying, hey, Russ, let's run it back, we can beat them, we were inches away. We were one game away from beating them. he wouldn't join them. And so if I were KD, after making a move like that, shit, I'm staying. The fuck? The hell? But KD tried to, go and do it on his own. He still ain't done it yet. Wish you the best, KD. But the Warriors called him back. Like, hey, big head. The future text where it's like, hey, happy Valentine's Day. This reminds me of the time you were my Valentine, I still love you and I hope your mom is doing good. That shit, yeah. The Warriors hit KD with one of those. But here's the thing. Kevin Durant and Draymond Green got into it. They got into a huge fight. Apparently, Draymond Green really disrespected him before he left. And so Draymond's still there. And also with KD playing for the Phoenix Suns right now, you remember when Draymond Green, I can't remember if he pushed, stepped on, beat, choked, whatever it was, but one of his violent incidents was against Yusuf Nurkic, who KD was teammates with the Phoenix Suns. And so it's like KD literally came out and is like, Draymond needs some serious help. Draymond needs help. Like, there's something actually wrong with him. He came out, he told a story about Draymond disrespecting him. And so my whole thing with this, as a Steph Curry fan, I don't think that Draymond Green gets enough flack for the role he has played in the downfall of the Golden State Warriors. Because he definitely expedited the process of the Warriors' downfall, for sure. Are you kidding me? The Warriors had the perfect situation in 2022. They basically did a rebuild just for fun, even though they still had their core that they drafted and that came up together. The Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, and then they had Andrew Wiggins, they had Jordan Poole. They had just like the second coming of like that era. Draymond Green decided to fuck it all up by punching Jordan Poole in his face. Like, you can't make that shit up. The Warriors literally had it in their hands. Jordan Poole was in the best situation he could have been in, learning from Steph Curry. Are you kidding me? In a championship winning situation, and you get punched by your teammate and shipped off to Washington where your career could virtually die. And then Draymond wants to be like, get over it. We're still talking about this. I said I'm sorry. Bro, I would hate you for the rest of my life. I would buy stones and crystals and spells just so I could to curse your lineage, bro. If you had me, and I like Draymond. To have me sent to Washington, ain't no way. Steph Curry and them ain't mad enough about that. And now y'all trying to get KD back, and he's like, I don't know, y'all still got that crazy man playing for y'all. I don't know. I'm just saying, he must be real worth it because he's starting to look like more trouble than he's worth. What the hell? As long as Steph Curry's happy, what does it matter? You feel me? But now they got their star. And it's not their ex, Kevin Durant. No, it's their next, Jimmy Butler. Here's the thing. It's not like Jimmy Butler is young enough to be, the inheritor to Steph Curry's legacy in Golden State. However, Jimmy Butler has been to the finals twice. He's playoff Jimmy. People start comparing him to Michael Jordan every time it gets a little warm outside, every time it's about to be summertime. And I don't think anything could go wrong by adding Jimmy Butler so long as they all stay healthy. It definitely compromises some of your depth, because Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, Steph Curry, very expensive, very expensive. I think I saw that that's like 92% of their salary cap that they're spending on those three players next year. That's a bit much. And then also, those two divas, Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green. Okay, Jimmy is known for embarrassing the hell out of his teammates, and Draymond Green is known for beating the hell out of his teammates. So how do you think that's going to work out? They could either be the best of friends or the biggest clash in NBA history. And I think that this all depends on whether or not they're winning. If they're losing, this is going to be a disaster. Jimmy's going to be miserable. Draymond's going to be miserable. Draymond's not going to like that he's there. He's going to be protective of Steph. It's going to be the biggest drama ever. So I'm just hoping that it works out. De'Aaron Fox made his debut as a San Antonio Spur. He did amazing, as expected. This is really cool. Fox joining the Spurs squad. So let me tell you a little bit about what they're getting. De'Aaron Fox is 27 years old. He's averaging like 25 a season. He's quick, he's aggressive, and he loves attacking the basket. He's basically taking on the role of leading the offense and making Wemby's life easier. This is a match made in heaven. This is a match made in heaven. I think with time, this could be really, really dangerous, and I'm really excited about it. This is exactly what Wemby needed and what the NBA needed as far as hyping up Wemby the way that they have. The drama, though, is who are they going to bench? So you got in the starting lineup, Chris Paul, Stephon Castle, Devin Vassell, Harrison Barnes, who's a steady veteran, and Victor Wembanyama, who's the future. Chris Paul, 20th NBA season, he's a legend. But with Fox stepping in, does this mean that Chris Paul moves to the bench? Or do they go small ball and push Castle, who's Stephon Castle, he's like a rookie with a lot of potential, out of the lineup? Either way, it's going to be spicy. Who was involved with this Spurs trade? Okay, you've got the Sacramento Kings, the San Antonio Spurs, and the Chicago Bulls. Listen, the Sacramento teams are a team that has been trying to be great, but just keeps finding themselves in struggle. Every time I find myself biting my tongue about the Sacramento Kings front office, it seems to be like, what are you doing, girl? And then the San Antonio Spurs are the team with the super tall, super talented French guy, Victor Wembanyama. And then the Chicago Bulls are just a team trying to figure out their future. It has been a mess in Chicago, disappointment after disappointment. And Zach Levine has been wanting to leave Chicago for what feels like my entire lifetime. Like, all I hear about Zach Levine is him wanting to leave Chicago. And finally, he got out. He got free. But he's going to Sacramento. This is a big, big risk for the Kings, swapping out De'Aaron Fox for Zach Levine. Because Zach Levine is really expensive, first of all, but he's super talented. I feel like we haven't seen him in like a really good situation in a really long time. So if this works out, they can definitely be competitive. But if not, yikes. Kings fans, I'm praying for you. Light the beam, girl. And then for the Chicago Bulls, they're kind of back in rebuilding mode. Again, collecting draft picks and role players. It's not a super exciting move for them, but it definitely gives them flexibility for the future, which is exactly what they need. And then for the Spurs, a fast, young, exciting guard to pair with their superstar of Victor Wembanyama. They are looking like a serious future contender, and they are definitely the winners of this trade. Another one. The Bucks trade Khris Middleton for Kyle Kuzma. Hotties! This one is like one that people aren't as interested in and isn't as big of a deal, but like when I tell you this is tea, this is tea. The Milwaukee Bucks just made a huge move, trading their longtime star Khris Middleton plus a young rookie and a draft pick to the Washington Wizards in exchange for Kyle Kuzma, the stylish young boyfriend of Winnie Harlow, who won a championship with the Lakers and even took his little Kobe photo and like became a meme on the internet because it was like, why are you taking the Kobe photo, bro? You're not LeBron. Anyways, and another young player. So here's the thing. RIP to the careers of Khris Middleton and Marcus Smart, who were both traded to the Washington Wizards today. I am so sorry. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. After hearing how Bradley Beal talked about being in Washington and how winning just isn't even in expectation. It's not even in the cards. Like, they just show up, go to practice, wait for their direct deposit to hit. Like, they don't even care there. I would hate to be in a situation like that. And especially to go from Marcus Smart. I want to issue a public apology to Marcus Smart. I have been making fun of his green hair since he was a Celtic, and I did not realize he dyed his hair green not as a Celtic, but to honor his late mother, which is something that he's talked about several times. I don't know how I missed that, but that is such a miss on my part. And I'm so sorry, Marcus Smart. Now I love your green hair. I apologize. But I digress. Marcus Smart went from being on a championship caliber situation, being the darling, the culture builder of the Celtics, to being with the Grizzlies and barely even like playing for them, and now sent to Washington for his career to die. And Khris Middleton went from being a champion, being in a championship situation, to being shipped off to Washington. I hate that for him. But Kyle Kuzma, congratulations, you've escaped. I know that's right, Kyle. You know what? Kyle Kuzma said that he was done with tunnel fits. He said that he was done wearing tunnel fits, and, you know, he had his big pink sweater on. Kyle, I think it's time for you to bring back the tunnel fits, my friend. I think it's time for you to bring back the tunnel fits and be him again. You are out of Washington. Good for you, boy. This is a major shakeup because Khris Middleton has been with the Bucks for over 11 years, and he was a key player in the 2021 championship win. But with injuries slowing him down, the Bucks just decided that it was time for a change, and incoming Kyle Kuzma. Saying goodbye to Middleton is like, he was like that super loyal bestie who stuck around through thick and thin. He helped Giannis Antetokounmpo, aka the Bucks MVP, win a championship in 2021. But lately, the injuries have kept him from playing his best. And this season, he was only averaging 12.6 points per game, which is like super low for him. Also, he's making $31.7 million this year and could opt into making $34 million this year, So that means he's expensive, and that's a lot of money for someone who's been injured so much. So the Bucks decide to let him go. And hello, Kyle Kuzma. Now let's talk about the new guy. Kyle Kuzma, also known as Kuz, is coming to Milwaukee from the Wizards. He's 29 years old, he's 6'9", and he plays forward. He's averaging 15.2 points and 5.8 rebounds this season. He's a solid defender. Opponents, struggle to score a little bit more on him. He's not the best three-point shooter, okay? He's only shooting 28% from the three this season, which is a yikes. But he does bring a little style, energy, some youth to the Bucks. His contract is also way more budget friendly than Khris Middleton. He's making $23.5 million this year, but his salary drops over time, which helps the Bucks financially. The Bucks also get more roster flexibility. Not only did the Bucks get Kyle Kuzma, but this also frees up money for them. Before this, the Bucks were stuck in what's called the second apron, which is like being way over budget on a shopping spree. By making this trade, they now have more room to make future moves and bring in better role players to help Giannis and Dame win a ring. Now what's next for the Bucks? With Kyle Kuzma on board, they're now ready to go all in on another championship run. Those were all of the big moves. One small move, okay? As an Atlanta Hawks fan that I want to mention is the Hawks traded away DeAndre Hunter to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Hotties, you're like, who cares about DeAndre Hunter? Who cares about the Cleveland Cavaliers? What the hell is going on? The thing you need to know is I have the Cleveland Cavaliers as my number one best team in the NBA right now, and this move just makes them better, okay? Now, they fleeced Atlanta. They stole from Atlanta. They robbed Atlanta. Like, I don't know what Atlanta was thinking. I don't know what Atlanta's been thinking in any of the moves they've been making. I'm surprised that Atlanta hasn't tried getting rid of Trae Young yet. It's like either get rid of Trae Young or go get another superstar to build with him. It seems like they have done everything but that. Is Atlanta having trouble getting superstars to come here? What's wrong with Atlanta? I like Atlanta. I'm from here. Why don't superstars want to come play here? Go get Kevin Durant. The Lakers got Luka. Anything can happen. We can't have anything nice. But DeAndre Hunter on the Cleveland Cavaliers is a sneaky little move that is going to make them better. You mark my words. Let's talk about the top 5 teams in the NBA right now. You got number 1, the Cleveland Cavaliers, who are 40-10. Previously, they were ranked number 2, and after a 3-game losing streak, they bounced back with 4 straight wins, dominating opponents by 104 points total. They are looking strong going into the All-Star break. Then you've got the Oklahoma City Thunder, who are 5. I watched the Oklahoma City Thunder put it on the New York Knicks in person. I'm thinking it's about to be a good game. Both of them were on winning streaks. I was so excited. I was working with Madison Square Garden. I had my cute little fur coat on. When I tell you, don't embarrass me or Jordan Woods, Knicks, like that ever again. I was embarrassed for y'all. They got dog walked by the Oklahoma City Thunder. And I'm sitting there thinking, the Oklahoma City Thunder are like that. When I say Isaiah Joe was making them Knicks wish they never touched a basketball ever, Isaiah Joe was putting it on the Knicks. I was like, the Oklahoma City Thunder have drafted so well and they're so deep that they got Isaiah Joe putting it on the Knicks in Madison Square Garden, having a night. They are so good, and it feels like every guy on the team is good. There's no ego with the way that they play. I love them. I honestly want them to win the championship. And not to mention, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has been on fire. He's dropped 2 50-point games and keeps putting up insane numbers. And Oklahoma City Thunder is still a top contender in the West, regardless to all these moves that the Lakers and the Mavs and everybody are making. And they're not even at their healthiest right now, y'all. They don't even have Chet Holmgren right now. And everybody thought that was going to be a big, no, they seem to be doing fine. At number 3, we've got the Boston Celtics. Listen, the defending champs aren't really eating right now. They're not expected to make any major trade, which no team who's a defending champion team in any league should do. I hate when teams do that, when they either win or lose the finals and they start blowing the team up. Like, girl, what you're doing is working. After seeing the Lakers-Mavs deal, could they possibly shake things up last minute? Hell nah. But I think that the defending champs, the Boston Celtics, they're just taking a little lull, a little time off. I think after the All-Star break, they'll turn things back up a notch. Then at 4 on the power rankings, they have the Memphis Grizzlies, who have won 9 of their last 10 games. Their star, Desmond Bane, is injured. Well, their real star is Ja Morant, but you know what I'm saying. Their other star, Desmond Bane is injured, but they have a really deep roster that's keeping them winning, and they'll be dangerous in the playoffs. And then at number 5, you've got the Houston Rockets, who are my dark horse to watch right now. They're very young. However, Amen Thompson made history with a triple-double at Madison Square Garden. But the team is struggling. They've lost 3 straight games and need to get back on track. But well coached by Ime Udoka, I believe that they can do it. Some other teams to watch, the New York Knicks. Jalen Brunson is absolutely clutch. He dropped 42 points and 10 assists in a huge win. The Knicks are improving, and they're proving that they belong with the best. The Lakers got Luka Doncic. They just pulled off the biggest trade of the year. Oh, you guys, I almost forgot to tell you why I have the Lakers so high up in my rankings. The Lakers, okay, so Luka touched down in LA, right? And he looked around, he said, y'all pretty small. I need a big boy. It's cuffing season. You feel me? He needed a big guy. And they obviously got rid of what they had of a big guy with Anthony Davis when they traded him. Luka was like, look, y'all, figure something out. They figured something out, and they went and rescued Mark Williams from the jailbird Hornets. Woo! I know his mom was happy he's out of Charlotte. I know she happy he's out of Charlotte. I would be so happy my son was out of there. Everybody on the Charlotte Hornets is either arrested, abusing, on drugs. It is a mess down there. Everyone who comes through there has something scary happen to them. So Mark Williams now is a Laker playing with LeBron James and Luka Doncic. Won't he do it? Won't he do it? We're going to see a whole different version of him playing in LA with Luka and LeBron. Another team to watch, the Dallas Mavericks. They also were part of the biggest trade of the year. Will AD help them improve? A lot of people have them as their number 1 in the West now. I personally don't, because it all depends on health and reliability. And I personally think that Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving, while they have proved to be reliable as of recently, history says otherwise. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to believe what you tell me. I'm going to believe what I've seen. I'm going to believe who you've shown me that you are. And Kyrie is one political crisis away from a boycott and not playing. And Anthony Davis is one slip on a banana peel away from not playing. So I will believe they're going to the finals when I see it, and I will cheer for them because I love to see black people win. But otherwise, good luck. The Milwaukee Bucks, Giannis and Dame obviously need help. They were looking for a big trade to fix their recent struggles, and they got Kyle Kuzma. And the crowd goes mild. And the Golden State Warriors, another team to watch. They were trying to make a last minute trade to get Steph Curry a superstar teammate, and that's what they did. Let's see if Jimmy Buckets can pull something off for the Warriors. And you guys, the last piece of basketball news I want to get into today. Listen, and this is just me being messy. This don't got nothing to do with the trade deadline, but y'all know how we get down here at Hoops for Hotties. Like, we just be talking. Michael Jordan's son, Marcus Jordan, I believe his name is, was arrested. And me not remembering his name is very funny foreshadowing for the rest of the story. Marcus Jordan, 34-year-old son of basketball legend Michael Jordan, just got into some trouble in Florida. It was early Tuesday morning on February 4th. This happened in Maitland, Florida, near Orlando. And here's the situation. Police found Marcus Jordan's Lamborghini stuck on some train tracks. Yes, girl, train tracks. And a train was coming in 10 minutes. Holy shit. Why did the police arrest him? He was already in trouble, okay? Officers learned that he had just fled a traffic stop in another county, which is a big red flag. He was acting suspicious. When the police got to him, they smelled alcohol, and he was slurring his words and acting confused. Then they found a bag in his pants, tested positive for cocaína, drogas. But anyways, all that to say, that's not a good look. So here's the charges that he's facing. Possession of cocaine, which is a second-degree misdemeanor. Resisting an officer without violence, which is another misdemeanor. And I believe a DUI because of the smelled alcohol, but I'm not entirely sure about that. All I see here is the cocaine and the resisting of an officer. He was arrested at 1:14 a.m. He was booked at 6:03 a.m. and he was released at 11:38 a.m. on a $4,000 bond. And when reporters tried to ask him questions, he said nothing, as probably advised by his lawyers and the Jordan family. I will also mention, he name dropped his father during the traffic arrest. Y'all, I'm gonna have to react to this in real time. He was stuck on the train tracks.
Back in the car right now, okay?
In a Lamborghini. How dangerous.
Give me a favor. Keep your hands out of your pockets,
Yeah.
man. Yeah. Keep your hands out of your pockets.
There's nothing in my pocket.
That's all. I'm pass you down and look at that. Put your hands up in there, bro.
Man,
Oh, is that a girl?
bro, I'm Marcus Jordan. I'm Michael Jordan's son. I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm just trying to
Is the
get
girl
home.
giggling?
And I made a wrong turn. Okay? And clearly, we would just like to get our car off
This is
the
embarrassing.
train track,
It's
which
true.
we were
I
not
can
trying to be
confirm.
on.
Girl talking about I can confirm. Girl, shut up. I'd be sitting there zip lip.
I mean,
I'm
just
sober.
saying
Bye.
that there's 6 of us, and we thought we were making a right, and we throw this thing in reverse.
Okay, well, I've already got concerns for your level of impairment anyways, okay? So that's why. Because I can smell alcohol coming from you, and you're on train tracks. Okay? So
Come on, man.
just listen to me. That's why I don't want you back behind the wheel anyways, okay?
I'm fine behind the wheel. I
Okay.
just would like to get my car out of this.
We'll deal with that after this, okay? We'll deal with that after this. But that's why I had to get you out of the car, okay? Because I hear spinning tires, I hear slurred speech from you, you're driving on train tracks. and
I'm
you're
not
stuck.
slurring anything, and I'm
letting you know. I have concerns. Okay?
well.
For
I
your level of
appreciate
impairment
that.
Driving a vehicle, I can't let you back behind the car and drive a vehicle.
I appreciate your concern.
Yeah, I don't want.
But
you to
I
get
am
hurt.
not inebriated. I'm
Juliet,
not
635,
anything that
555.
cannot.
Not a good look for Marcus Jordan. He obviously is intoxicated. He has a woman with him who's like giggling. He's slurring his words. The officer said that he smells like alcohol, and he name dropped his father and said, "I'm Marcus Jordan, Michael Jordan's son." The officers were not moved, and the crowd goes mild. They did not give a shit. They said, "And well, then you call Michael Jordan, Jumpman, your boy's up to something." Like, no. Not during Black History Month. Come on, Marcus. Damn. Marcus Jordan is no stranger to controversy, especially since he dated his dad's teammate's ex-wife, Larsa Pippen. But this is serious. Making headlines, getting arrested for drugs while on train tracks. Thank God, honestly, that those officers came when they did, because a train was coming in 10 minutes. They could have died. So I'm glad that they're okay. You know, maybe LeBron did do the right thing. Everybody's like, LeBron putting pressure on his son. Maybe he did do the right thing, forcing him into the NBA, you know? So he couldn't end up in an unsafe or bad situation. But parents can't control what happens to their kids. And kids, you know, celebrity kids, a lot of them are in a hard situation. Coming up after Michael Jordan, the GOAT, and being his son, that can't be easy. So I don't know. I have empathy for everybody involved, but definitely not a good look. And hotties, that's all I got for you today. Just an hour of yapping. That's all I got for you today. Thank you so much for watching. This NBA trade deadline has been absolutely insane. I can't wait to come on and talk to you more. Please leave a comment about what you think the craziest trade was and what you want me to talk about on the Hoops for Hotties podcast next. I love you so much, and stay locked right here. Bye.